Well, hello everyone. Today we are going to talk about an MMORPG, which means a massive multiplayer online role-playing game. If a game has less than 100 players that are allowed to log in together at a time, I don't consider it massive. So it might just be an online role-playing game. And the only reason why we're talking about one today is because on the 29th of April last month, Eden Eternal shut down. The reason why that's important is because they still had 15,000 players that logged in every single month to play the game and hang out with their friends. Now for these players, they might not know where to go next. And thankfully, there's a server, Vendetta for Eden Eternal, that they can go to and log in and still be able to play the game. Now, as you can see behind me, this is just like the login page to where you could make your account from here, download the game, update it, and then you'll log in. I did log in myself just to see if it was good enough to recommend to people. They have two different servers, Classic and a high rate server. So if you just want to play the game and you're one of those 15,000 people that still like the game, you can choose Classic. I chose, the Awakened server for the faster rates because, like I said, I just wanted to see briefly what it was about. And you can log in. I was able to log in and play the game. I was able to get some of the things you had to pay for previously with money from loot boxes. I know Eden Eternal with Area Games, they were one of the first companies, to provide loot boxes. They don't have that here, thankfully. They did away with that, and you don't have to pay for anything. Because from doing the main quest, you unlock these tokens on which you can take to the website to unlock these custom items that normally you would purchase. And the reason why that was important for this game is because those costumes with the custom items actually gave stats. So if you paid money, you were automatically stronger than somebody that played it for free. So if you do unlock those, please go to the main web server for the website to unlock it. Now, whenever you start playing this game, you can choose between one of a couple different races. You can be a frog, you can be a furry, you can be a human, you can be a demon. And it is a top-down view, and you can move around with the WSAD, but it does seem like it was built for you to move around with your mouse mostly. So if you like a game that, is a little bit older from the Ragnarok Online time frame, and you like to move around with your mouse, like on Lineage 2, how it used to be, this would be a game you could check out. Like I said, they only had 14,000 main players. Most of them, it's only been a couple weeks for them, so they might still be looking for a game to go to. And if they do not want to give up Eden Eternal, they can just come here. Now, if you are looking for another game, we'll probably cover something you might like better next week. I am going to stream a couple videos next week, and I will have the camera for my PlayStation 5, so I will be showing Final Fantasy XIV, and I might be streaming it as well. But enough about other games. We're talking about this one. I've done some quests here. You can see my character running around. The questing is very basic, and it's very poorly translated from a North Korean to English standpoint. So if you are looking for something new to get into, you are going to be scratching your head a little bit after some of the things that they say. But you can also click on the names of the monster or enemy or quest member. You just right click on it and your character will automatically, just run along the path to that. At any time on this game, once you acquire a weapon, you can change your job. So just like the system from Final Fantasy XI or Final Fantasy XIV, you can job change anywhere, and you can do that simply by going into your menu to the job change tab and clicking the next class you want to be, whether it's Ranger, Hunter, Thief, Warrior, Swordsman, Gunner. There's an Engineer class, Samurai, Ninja, and you can change to all different ones. This game was built for lower end computers, so if you don't have the fastest computer in the world, guess what? You don't need it. You will see that because it is built for lower end computers, when you go into a town, there's going to be less NPCs, less crowding, there's going to be less grass. The normal things people look at every day in the new video games they play now, like texture density and ray tracing, there will be none of that in this game. The shadows, even turned up all the way, you will see that they are kind of like on low of what you would see on Knights of the Old Republic. You can very easily tell if there is a quest or sub-quest by the question marks above the NPCs' heads. NPCs, if you're new to video gaming, means non-player character. So any character that's on your game that's not you or a friend of yours will be a non-player character. So all of the villagers, your shopkeepers, and sometimes even your party members, like your dog companions, will all be NPCs. One of the neat things about this game is that not only do they have adult NPCs, but they also have children, boys and girls, and the little creatures that they have. Like, so if you pick like the frog race, they actually have children of the frog race too, and they can have their own little quests, just like you would see on Xenoblade Chronicles. So I thought that was very neat, because you don't see that a lot. Normally in a game, especially one from North Korea, you only speak to the adults in the game, and then sometimes the children may have like chat bubbles that appear over their head when you're walking by, but they're not really characters in the game that you can interact with. So being able to take quests from them and talk to them on this game is pretty neat. So this game does have not only stat trees where you can invest two different stats per class, because if you change a class it will reset, but it also has skill trees. So as you level up, you can spend your level points, you get so many points every time you level, into a skill tree so you can make yourself stronger in that skill, or learn a new skill, or even branch off from those skills to learn a new skill that you wouldn't have had at a previous level. Something really neat about this game is that it does have single player and multiplayer dungeons. So if you do not have a party, or you're one of the players that like to just play the game by yourself, you can enter all of the dungeons solo. If you enter them solo, they still do the same amount of damage, however they have a whole lot less HP. And the HP decreases depending on how many players would normally be in it. So if you walked into a dungeon that would normally have 4 players, the monster's health is only going to be 1/4 of what it was before. Something that was very odd though is once I did defeat the final boss of the dungeon, it didn't have like its own treasure chest or like a ton of XP that I'm kind of used to from beating a boss at the end of a dungeon. Normally you would get some type of unique item or weapon from this current dungeon. Now I did try to enter the multiplayer dungeon by myself. I thought since I was in a higher rate server and I was way over leveled that I would be able to just go in and kind of steamroll all the enemies. And I did pretty good. I got to like the halfway point and then they started murdering me. So I had to run away and then re-enter as the solo quest. And I cleared the whole map from the first part. And there's also like these MVP monsters, so there's these special monsters that you can kill, and you kind of have like a wanted sheet, like Metal Max, of all the monsters that you can kill in that area that have different names. So that was very unique and neat to me. But it seemed like I was only through like a super small fraction, because once I changed maps, it was like I was in this whole nother world, and it also had its own city. So where I'm new at it, I didn't know how to check the map to see like how many different places there were, because it just removed like this little bit of cloud. But it looked like I was probably like 1/30th to 1/40th through all of the different little places. So this is a game that you can look forward to investing hundreds, if not thousands of hours into. I personally put probably 6 hours into this game on Classic to get through the first map, and then I did try it again on the high rate server, and it only took about an hour and 15 minutes, and that was by doing everything: the wanted list, the MVPs, all of the quests that I could find, and the dungeon. Another neat thing is when I was killing monsters, I was able to pick up a note off one of the monsters that led me onto a multi-stage quest that ended up leading into another quest. So if by chance like you were playing on Classic and you weren't able to pick up that note from the monster, that's a quest you might not even be able to experience in the game. And I haven't seen that since World of Warcraft. So that was pretty neat to me, and for a game that came out around the same time as World of Warcraft, it was just really neat that they both had the same ideas. But this game also has downsides too, like with your inventory. I feel like I was running out of inventory really fast, like faster than I ran out of inventory on Fallout 76, and that's super fast. So you don't have a whole lot of inventory space, so you should definitely plan accordingly when you go out and you start adventuring. So to wrap it up, while doing my overview, here's some things I really liked about the game. I liked that the enemies had different stars besides their name to tell you how strong the enemy was. I liked how some of the enemies were on a wanted list, so when you killed them, you could kind of collect which named monsters that you've killed through the game. And I also liked that you could change classes anywhere at any time. Some of the things that I do not like about the game is, as of right now, it is really outdated graphically. I know that that doesn't mean very much to some people, but I definitely want to feel like I'm immersed in a video game. I also didn't like the controls. I want to be able to move around. I want to be able to maybe link it up to my Xbox controller, maybe have some vibration functions, and this game just doesn't have the controls set up for that. And probably the main thing that I really didn't care about with this game is just the NPCs and the world map are very, spread far apart, but the monsters themselves are very dense. So when you go in, like if you're running through like a little area, all of a sudden you're going to be jammed packed with 20 or 30 monsters, and if you attack one of them, it might aggro 4 or 5 of those monsters that you have to fight together, and I really personally didn't care for that. Alright, and that brings us to the conclusion of my video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let's do our birthday shoutouts. Happy birthday to Tiana, Elsa, Jinx, and Felix. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in our next video. Bye.